Greetings, I am Tan Yukin. Today I will present Chapter 3, Assessment Data Collection. This chapter is organized into 4 main sections. 1. Principles and methodologies of data collection. 2. Assessment, identification and classification. 3. Subject demographics. 4. Data providers and emergency contacts. We will examine each section sequentially, concluding with review questions to reinforce key concepts. We begin with the principles and methodologies of data collection. Principles of data collection. Accuracy principle refers to the veracity and reliability of collected data. As the fundamental principle governing data collection, accuracy directly determines the validity of assessment outcomes. Therefore, information must be recorded truthfully and objectively to ensure complete precision. Completeness principle, comprehensive data collection, is essential for objectively reflecting the health status of older adults. The process must avoid omissions or missing elements that could compromise assessment integrity. Safety principle assessment tools must be operated according to standardized protocols to ensure the physical safety of subjects throughout the data collection process. Methodologies of data collection. Documentation analysis involves extracting valid information from existing records. When utilizing existing documents, practitioners must verify both the timeliness and source credibility. Common documents include medical histories, physical examination reports, nursing records, and discharge summaries. This method offers operational simplicity and convenience. Structured interviewing entails direct interaction with subjects through systematic questioning and observation to gather required information. Ideally, the interviewee should be the subject themselves. However, family members knowledgeable about the subject's health condition may provide responses when necessary. Assessors collect data based on verbal responses, behavioral reactions, and observed manifestations. Instrumental measurement utilizes calibrated tools to obtain quantitative data. Examples include thermometers for body temperature, sphygmomanometers for blood pressure, and stadiometers with scales for anthropometric measurements. Standardized testing employs validated assessment scales to collect specific data points. For evaluating mental status, this may include tasks requiring temporal and spatial orientation, such as identifying current time, stating dates, or describing present location. Scenario simulation subjects perform specified tasks within controlled scenarios to facilitate data collection. This approach is particularly effective for assessing activities of daily living, including eating, grooming, bathing, and dressing or undressing. We now proceed to the section on assessment, identification, and classification. During the assessment process, for older adults, specific data fields must be collected and documented. The assessment reference date denotes the Gregorian calendar date on which the evaluation is conducted. This section will focus specifically on assessment, identification, coding, and assessment classifications. The assessment ID serves as a unique identifier for internal records within the assessment executing organization, comprising an 8-character alphanumeric code. The coding structure is detailed sequentially as follows. Position 1 represents the assessor organization type, denoted by uppercase letters. J. Care institution S. Community-based organization. T. Third-party assessment organization. Positions 2 to 5 represent the assessment date using a 4-character encoding system. While the standard date format YYYY/MM/DD contains 8 digits, This is compressed using hexadecimal encoding, where numbers 0 to 9 are represented directly. Numerical values exceeding 10 shall be represented using uppercase English letters, wherein A corresponds to the decimal value 10, with sequential encoding continuing through Z. Example, May the 15th, 2023 encodes as 5 Croatian kunas F. Position 6 identifies the primary assessor using a single alphanumeric character following the same hexadecimal encoding scheme. Numerical values 0 through 9 are represented by digits 0 to 9. Values exceeding 10 are encoded using uppercase English letters, where A corresponds to 10, with sequential encoding continuing through Z. Position 7 to 8 Sequential Assessment Identifier. These positions denote the sequential reference number for the assessment encoded using two alphanumeric characters following the same hexadecimal representation methodology as specified for position 6. Assessment classifications include initial assessment, routine assessment, immediate assessment, and reassessment triggered by disputed findings. Part 3. Subject demographic information. Data collection methodologies vary according to specific information categories as detailed below. Official documentation from National ID Card or household registration records, name, gender, date of birth, ethnicity, religious affiliation, identification number, and educational attainment. Instrumental measurement, height and weight. Structured interview, current living arrangements, marital status, healthcare payment methods, primary income sources, and documented care-related risk incidents occurring within the preceding 30-day period. Basic information screenshot. Critical implementation notes. Income sources are formally categorized into 6 types: pension or retirement funds, filial subsidies, support from relatives or friends, government universal subsidies, personal savings and other designated subsidies. Intermittent monetary gifts or discretionary cash transfers, for example, condolence money, red envelopes, are excluded from formal income classification. Recent care risk events within 30 days primarily include falls, wandering episodes, choking incidents, suicidal behaviors, self-harm events, and other documented occurrences. Assessors must verify these events through cross-referencing relevant medical records and clinical documentation. Multiple verification and systematic validation procedures shall be implemented to ensure complete data authenticity and reliability. Part 4. Information providers and emergency contacts. Provider name must correspond exactly with official identification documents, for example, National ID, Social Security card. When multiple potential informants exist, priority shall be given to immediate family members. The identities of secondary information providers shall be formally documented in the Special Circumstances Record following verification. Relationship verification. The familial or legal relationship between the information provider and the assessed individual must be confirmed through official documentation, for example, household registration records. When multiple providers are involved, the respective relationships of secondary informants shall be explicitly recorded in the Special Circumstances Record. This concludes the formal content of this chapter. Please engage in critical analysis through the following case study questions. Analyze the professional misconduct demonstrated by the assessors in the following scenarios and provide evidence-based improvement recommendations. Case 1. During the collection of educational background information for elderly Miss Lee, assessors 1 and colleagues encountered cognitive limitations preventing clear self-reporting. Miss Lee's spouse provided an unverified recollection, suggesting high school or equivalent attainment. Without implementing standard verification protocols, Assessor 1 accepted this secondary information and selected the high school or technical school or vocational school designation. Case 2. While documenting economic support sources for elderly Mr. Zhang, the subject reported, "My children provide substantial monetary gifts during holidays, which I maintain in personal savings accounts." Despite the irregular nature of these transfers, Assessor Sun categorically recorded both filial subsidies and personal savings as formal income sources without conducting proper classification analysis. This concludes our presentation of chapter content. Thank you for your attention.